People who have been to high school 10 years. Reunions, what were some surprises, shocks for you? The mom of a friend of mine met a woman called Anna at a reunion. She wasn't sure of who she was. Apparently they had been pretty good friends back then. Her name was David back then though. I'm excited for my all-girls high school reunion next year so I can meet Alistair. I only ever knew him as Ashley. People got fat. Had kids. The popular folks aren't as popular anymore. You won't remember anyone's name. If you go solo you might get flirted with a bit. I've lost about 35 pounds and turned into an athlete. My 10-year reunion is in a few months, and part of me is really looking forward to showing up as the quiet bookworm who turned into a hot girl after high school. I'm still a quiet bookworm though, so I'll probably just stand awkwardly against the wall while stress-eating stuffed mushrooms and shrimp. Make sure you are facing the wall for maximum awkwardness. So, there's no point in going to reunions? No way. Confirming that people got fat is the point of going to reunions. Facebook has decreased the surprise of high school reunions. Oh, you went on that trip to Mexico last year, right? Yeah, how do you know? I saw your beach album. Not my high school reunion, but my dad's. A couple years after my parents got divorced, my dad goes to his high school reunion and runs into his prom date. They catch up, she'd been the one that got away and all. And it turns out she's also recently divorced from husband number 2. Some things don't work out like you wish they would, you know? They agree to meet for drinks and dinner again soon, and they do. And then more dating. And then next thing I know I'm spending every other weekend driving with my dad across the state to hang out with her. But it's not bad. She's friendlier than the other girls he tried dating. And she's getting my dad to be more relaxed and not drink as much. I leave for college and they get married. He and his bandmates decide to get the band back together for reunion tour at the next class reunion. The following summer reunion, the band show was a hit. It was like seeing my dad as a teenager. They caused trouble all weekend lighting off fireworks and drinking, and my grandma covered for them. No, officer, haven't heard anything. Just playing solitaire on my computer. They played all night long and decide it's going to be a yearly thing. So many of their old classmates stayed in the area and they loved playing and hanging out. My dad got the girl, got the band back together, and got his life back in line thanks to a couple class reunions. It wasn't a 10-year reunion, mind you. Sometimes you'll have to wait a little bit longer to get the happy ending you're hoping for. I was the biggest loser in high school but was the coolest motherfucker at the reunion. Also the jocks who bullied me were janitors at the event. Also that popular cheerleader became fat and ugly. I had a very interesting and unexpected experience at my 10-year reunion. To start, I was a little metal goth kid that went to a high school in the Midwest with the best football team in the state. You can accurately assume what I thought of my overall high school experience from that. When the 10-year reunion came around, I was very hesitant to go. I knew that none of my good friends would be there, and it would just be filled with the people I thought I loathed a decade prior. So what was the point? But for some reason I went anyway, and it was absolutely wonderful. At no other point in your life can you walk into a huge bustling room and instantly recognize the faces of hundreds of people all at once. These are people that, like it or not, you grew up with and around, and seeing them again for the first time in a decade hits you like a wave of nostalgia. Memories of my youth came rushing back that I had completely forgotten about, and I felt a strange sense of being home again. For better or worse. It felt safe and peaceful. I had maybe one good friend show up, and I didn't necessarily connect with anybody else that was there, but I still loved seeing them all. I also completely unanticipated how many people I had forgotten about. When you think about attending your HS reunion, you think of all the very animated characters in your history. The popular jock, the bully, the troublemaker, etc. What you forget about are all the quiet people in between. And how many of them you actually liked. People you might have had only one class with, or acquaintances you sat next to at lunch every now and then. I liked a lot more people than I remembered. These were the people that filled in the missing pieces and added context to my history. Somehow this completely unexpected group ended up being the most special part of the reunion for me. So if you're debating going to your reunion, I'd highly suggest it for the time-traveling sensation alone. Dude, I think you just sold me on going. Mine will be this year, and I had no intentions of going until I read this. People broke out into their lunch tables they sat at during HS Odd. Make a group of people form a habit over 4 years starting at age 14 and ending at age 18. Wait 10 years. When group is 28, bring them all back together in the same environment where they developed the habit. Prove that people remember things that they forgot. The end. My surprise was not being invited, but seeing pictures from the event on a friend's Facebook. Nothing like being reminded of how easily you are forgotten. Not me, and not 10 years, but my dad went to his 30-year high school reunion. A woman he had had a one-night stand with right after graduation approached her. Hey, remember me? Him. Oh yeah? How's it going? Her. Good. We have a 29-year-old daughter. I have her phone number if you want to call her. They had slept together right after graduation. He then moved away. She got pregnant, put the girl up for adoption, and never told him. The daughter had just found her birth mother right before the reunion, so she figured that was as good a time as any to let him know. She brought a photo album of her growing up and gave it to my dad. The girl looked exactly like my dad when she was a teenager, and exactly like my dad's sister as an adult, so there was no question it was his kid. His next question. Oh my God, am I a grandfather? Her. No, she's a lesbian. Him. Oh thank God. Probably the only time you'll hear that response to finding out their kid is gay. It was hard on my family at first. It all happened before my mom and dad had met, but it was still difficult coming to terms with it. We decided to meet her and see what was up. She is awesome. Like really one of the coolest people I know. Great sense of humor. She is now a part of our family. Met my future wife. We hated each other in HS, but at the reunion everything clicked. Edit. Be careful who you hate. In HS, I was really oblivious and kind of socially inept. My future wife was very shy and conservative. We both took the AP classes, so we interacted about enough that there was friction between us, and we did nothing together socially, so there was this quiet dislike that grew over 4 years. Over the next 10 years through college and graduate school we both grew a great deal. I became more socially experienced, and she really came out of her shell. It didn't hurt a bit that we both were making good money and were in pretty good shape when the reunion rolled around. We talked and drank and decided that we had enough common interests, at that point, maybe just wanting each other naked, that dating would be a good idea. I found out that a guy in my high school class is in jail for some kind of involvement in child norp. Also, 7 people have died from my high school class. Pretty sad. Only 7 in 10 years? How big was your graduating class? 7 people died from mine within 3 years of graduation. Yeah, I'm from a class of 400, and we have like 2 or 3 die every year. That was 3 years ago that I graduated. Almost all from drug overdose. People who couldn't have cared less about me in high school were excited to see me again. I still don't know why. That one girl I almost lost my virginity to? She got really hot. The one guy who was always kind of a prick because he came from a wealthy family? Nearly full male pattern baldness. Yes, at 28 years old. Everyone who is gay isn't afraid to say so anymore. Very few people showed up with their spouses or partners. There was one girl that I always thought was awesome. She was cute, nice, and smart as hell. There were very few people I wanted to see, and she was one of them. She didn't show up. I was sad. My best friend is trans F to M. One of the guys in our clique pointed to him and said, "It's great to see everyone again, but I don't remember that guy at all." One of our other friends replied, "That's because he was a girl when we were in high school." The look on the guy's face was priceless. My mother had once been to one. There was this really shy girl. She wouldn't talk to anyone or do anything. When she went, they found out she was a prostitute. How mellow and normal most people became. People I thought were jerks or enemies turned out to be surprisingly nice and awesome. Except for the loud preppy kids. Most of them stayed obnoxious. I work for a company that puts together high school reunions, and have worked at over 50 of them in my time there. 10-year. High school all over again. You can tell who is popular, and you can see most people fall back into their cliques. There is always someone who knows no one and feels awkward trying to find someone to talk to. 20-year. People have kids. It's mostly popular kids now and ones that were really involved in school activities meeting their old friends. There's less people awkwardly walking around alone. 30-year. It's whittled down to popular kids and student government kids now. Women desperately trying to reclaim their youth and show how young they still look. If you didn't know everyone was in the same age range, you would think there was a 20-year range of ages. 40-year. Some of the ladies try to age gracefully and still look good, while others just try to look as young as possible. Men showing off new younger wives, and talking about all the people who have died. Still student government and popular people. 50-year. Less of an attempt at reclaiming youth, a lot of talking about who has died and grandchildren. Do you have a similar story? Leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.